Yo, what's going on, guys? Sorry for the change of plans here, back at another banger video. In today's video, I decided that the last video ended kind of negatively and it wasn't sitting right with me. So this is a selfish video, to lift my mood for the rest of the day. We're going to be speaking about my best albums of 2025. Now, I'm not going to lie, I wrote this list like midway through December and decided against changing it. So there's going to be some stuff I disagree with on here, but there's so many amazing albums from this past year of music that stuff was always going to miss out. Um, so if you want to see some other albums that I liked that aren't going to be spoken about in this video, please consider following my Album of the Year account. But let's get into the list. We're going to be kicking the list off with indie darlings Wet Leg, their latest effort, Moisturizer, which I think absolutely lived up to and maybe even better than their self-titled debut. We just got another batch of 12 fantastic rock tracks ranging from dirty post-punk on a track like CPR to dance punk on a track like Catch These Fists to indie on tracks like Davina McCall or Monge 2. Even more pop-centric stuff like Pokemon. This album just shows a lot of range, it's a lot of fun. There's not a lot of seriousness behind it, it's just a lovey-dovey fun time, which I think we all need. A record that might be a bit less accessible as we continue the list into number 19 is going to be this latest effort from the Calistyle Boys, I Don't Want to See You in Heaven. Now, initially I wasn't going to include this because I don't actually think this is probably in my top 20, but I think that I wanted to try and get as much representation of different genres as I could, and this I think is the most exciting metal album to come out this year. Just pummeling mathcore at certain points and then everything else at others. I think that despite how heavy and bludgeoning it is at times, there is almost something a bit for everyone on here, and I think that it is very much a fun time. Another track list that gave me a very fun time this year is of course going to be this new FKA Twigs album, Eusexia. Now I'm yet to hear Afterglow, so if this video gets 2 likes, I'll do a reaction to Afterglow on this channel at some point. But this album is just so much fun. FKA Twigs, a legend in alternative R&B and art pop, taken a step more towards club music on here. Like, a lot of the times I think people can struggle with her music because it's so abstract and so weird at times. And you don't have to worry about that on here. Like, there is straight up dance pop numbers on this album, like Perfect Stranger, for example, or Eusexia, the opening track. But it's not these ones that particularly stand out to me as mind-bending music. It's tracks like 24 Hour Dog or the tracks just named went out of my head. Wanderlust, or even a track like Striptease that sounds absolutely like nothing I've ever heard. Obviously, no spoilers for the best singles list, but the track that made that list is fantastic as well. Just really fun from front to back. Even the Northwest collab is a lot of fun. This album's just a bit of a feat in dance music, to be honest. Next up, we're going to be going with Beloved by Giveon. Really, really stunning R&B and neo-soul album. Giveon just has one of the best voices. In modern music, and he really puts it to use on this beautiful set of tracks. Next up, we're going to be continuing the list with Next up, can people stop slamming doors in my house, please? Next up, we're going to be going with Portal / Polarities by Night Tapes. Night Tapes, an indie kind of project that I discovered around late 2024. So this album came at a fantastic time. A lot of fun. If you like acts like Purity Ring and that kind of stuff, where it's this very sort of dreamy, hazy pop sound, you're going to love this. And it's just such a perfect album for the summer, which is ironic because it's really snowy outside. Another summer album that came out later on in the year is going to be this new The Deep album, K-Pop Bitch. Just some of the most fun I've had with a K-pop record. I've personally never been super invested in K-pop. I've always preferred J-pop and even like C-pop at times. But if this is what Korea's going to start making, I'm going to be very pleased, because this track list from start to finish is super quick, but it's not scant. It's just a lot of fun sugar pop bangers. An album that isn't near as sugary and is far more serious than a lot of stuff we've spoken about thus far is going to be this new Little Simz album, Lotus. Little Simz, an artist who has been known for making amazingly vibrant jazz rap music, pretty much since her inception in like the mid-2010s. This latest effort, though, deals in Afrobeats and rock music and punk at times, whilst maintaining the neo-soul and jazz and rap influence from her other stuff. A lot of this track list is very cold, it's angry, even bitter at points, as she talks about a lot of themes of betrayal and all that kind of, all the kind of feelings that come with that. It's not an album I can listen to all the time, I'm not going to lie, but I do think that it is yet another fantastic effort and just another notch in the amazing discography that she has built up over the years. Speaking of discographies, an artist who I've not heard of before this year is going to be Kamari with To Dry a Tear at number 13. Another one of my favourite R&B albums of this past year. Just another amazing voice. A lot of fun grooves on here, and then a lot of really pretty ballads like Head in a Jar. It was really tough to pick a single from this album for the best singles list. But go watch that video if you want to find out which one I picked. Next up, in at number 12, we're going to be going with Lux by Rosalia. This album totally blew my mind, as did many others. It's such a departure from what she's made before, but it feels so right and so good for her music. You know, there's just so many moments of euphoria and so many moments of bliss on this track list. It was a really amazing album to react to, and I just want to thank everyone for the response to that reaction, because that video kind of went mental and has blown my mind a little bit, but it didn't blow my mind near as much as anything on this album. Next up, we're going with another indie darling, but maybe a bit before Wet Leg's time. We're going to be going with The Clearing by Wolf Alice. Wolf Alice, a personal favourite band of mine. I've really loved their music for a long time. And this album, as someone who's loved their music for a long time, sounds absolutely bonkers compared to some of the stuff I've heard from them before. I mentioned it a little bit on my best singles video, but to go from noise pop and shoegaze and indie to making this almost like glam-esque album, is fantastic. It's such an ambitious record, but the songwriting never gets lost in the ambition. You've got amazing choruses from start to finish on here. A lot of instruments and things going on that you probably wouldn't be used to having in a Wolf Alice song, but it is a totally welcome addition to an already fantastic formula. Another album that feels really grand and amazing is going to be Magic Alive by McKinley Dixon. This album blew me away yet again. I didn't think he could top Beloved Paradise Jazz, but I think he honestly might have on here. This album just feels so rich and so colourful and so warm. Despite dealing in some heavy themes of death and religion and things, it's just a super ambitious album that delivers on every single promise. An album that maybe isn't near as ambitious and was an artist really sort of like loosening up their formula. PinkPantheress, Fancy That. This track list is like a 20-minute mixtape. But she outdid pretty much everyone else in pop music on that. You've got the retro breakbeat dance grooves that are always going to be in PinkPantheress' songs. You've got some really amazing songwriting on here. And because the track list is just 9 tracks, every single song is created equal. You don't listen to one song and then listen to the next and notice a drop off or anything. Every single track is such a consistent level of fun that it makes this album an absolute breeze to get through, and one that I can just play again and again and again and again. Another album I've been playing again and again and again and again is going to be, in my opinion, the greatest Rage album of all time. We're going to be going with Rest in Bass by Che. This album just is... It completely revitalized the genre in my eyes. I remember writing a review for Music at the start of the year. It was really, really a negative review, where I said that, like, Rage in 2025 isn't exciting, move on. And then I heard this album, and it really sort of re-sparked my love for the genre. Well, it didn't even really re-spark my love for the genre. Rage is a music genre that I've never really super connected with, despite being predominantly a hip-hop fan. But this album just really clicked with me to the point where it makes other projects sound better. When I first heard Say So Says, the year before this, it was a fun album. It was exciting, but it never really hooked me in the way that this one did. People will think I'm joking when I say this, but I think that this is truly one of the best rap albums of the decade, so far. So many bangers on here. The synth work is amazing. The amount of noise on a lot of these tracks is just absolutely blood pumping. Che's rapping performance from start to finish is super varied and versatile. It's everything you could want from this genre, and truly a love letter, I think. Plus, it helps that it also got a really fantastic deluxe edition as well. Although that obviously doesn't factor into the list, and this list was made before that deluxe came out. I just really love this album. However, there's one hip-hop album I loved more this year. Can you guess what it is? We're going to be going with Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips, in at number 7. This album just, it really shook the music world when Clips reunited. It was always going to be an amazing album with Pusha T and Malice, especially when you add Pharrell production into the mix. But to hear it come out quite this good was so amazing. This album isn't like a throwaway comeback. This is right on the level, if not better, than a lot of the stuff this duo were releasing in their prime. If you like coke rap, there's nowhere else to go realistically but with Clips. But there's also amazing tracks like The Birds Don't Sing, where they get into far different topics. Even tracks like I don't want to get it mixed up. Is it Chains and Whips or Whips and Chains? I think it's Chains and Whips. Even tracks like Chains and Whips where they're talking about like the rap industry as a whole. It's an amazing track list from front to back. So many anthems and so many deep retrospective tracks. I really couldn't have asked for more from this comeback. It was fantastic to see. Someone who I definitely couldn't ask for more from is Violet Pony, who of course made the list last year, but decided, I'm not done. I'm going to put out like fucking 4 albums in 2 years or whatever, and they're all going to be amazing. Love and Pony Step is going to be my number 6 inclusion. Where to even start with this album? It's so long, but it's got so much going on, It's the classic sort of formula with elements of indie-tronica and complextro and a bunch of album of the year made up genres. Pretty much it's a really fun, bouncy pop album from start to finish that deals in some heavy themes. As always, if you want a record that's maybe a bit more fun to listen to and a bit more accessible than Monarch of Monsters, that still is equally, well, I wouldn't say equally, but is still quite dark at points, this album's right there. It's just so much fun from start to finish though, and I couldn't help but include it. An inclusion that I've not seen on any other album of the year list, I might just not be looking in the right places, is going to be this new self-titled effort from Chilean band Antonius. This track list is very short. There's only 7 tracks on it, but they are all fantastic. From the singles Dulces Corazones and Atado a Tu Sentimiento to the actual album tracks like Alma Animal, for instance. There's just so much amazing music on here, and when you make such a short track list, you've got to make every second count, and I think they absolutely do, with 7 amazing indie rock bangers, also incorporating elements of dream pop and post-punk and even Britpop at points. Really fantastic album. Next up, we're going to be going with Guardian by Turquoise Death in at number 4. And Turquoise Death, an artist who is only ever improved since I discovered them. And this track feels like the ultimate culmination. This album, feels like the ultimate culmination of that. The single, was it called Voyager? That track was fantastic. Every other track on here is fantastic. And then it all concludes with this 30-minute mammoth track that is just so amazing to me. Is this what like Swans fans feel when they listen to Bring the Sun? When I listen to this 30-minute Turquoise Death track. I showed this song to my grandmother, who is in her 70s and listens to pretty much nothing but like city pop and disco and soul. She's not a dance music person. Well, she's a dance music of that time. She's not an electronic dance music person or someone who listens to 30-minute songs, but she loves that song. I think that's more points to my grandmother for being cool than it is points to this album, but it is still points to this album. I really love this electronic release from Turquoise Death, and they continued with more amazing singles throughout the year after this. Yes, please. Now, we're going to get into our top 3 now. You can probably guess what these 3 albums are. But number 3, where this year has been an amazing year for dance music. I think that dance music's probably the winning genre of music this year. Either dance music or rap music. I think both had fantastic years this year. But the, without a doubt, best dance album for me this year it's gonna be exactly what you think it is. It's Through the Wall, Rochelle Jordan. She came through with this amazing callback to 90s house music with these alternative R&B elements mixed in, as well as garage and 100 other genres on this album. Nearly an hour runtime, I think, but every single minute of this, you're going to be nodding your head. You're going to want to get up and give it one of these. It is just such a consistently fun album in a year that maybe might have been fun for you, but it wasn't a fun year for me in a lot of ways. But albums like this really lifted my spirits, and I'm so glad. Now, part of the reason this video took so long to come out was because of these two albums in my top 2, duking it out. I still am not entirely happy with picking one over the other one. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to pad my watch time. I'm just going to say it. Number 2. I think number 2 is going to be Getting Killed by Geese. There's a reason why Geese have blown up the way they have this year. I think 3D Country was a fantastic album in 2023. I think the Cameron Winter solo project was fantastic. Hell, I even think their debut, although its name's gone out of my head, is it like Projector or something? That's fantastic as well. But there's a reason why this is the album that really sort of put them on the map, if you will. Just a psychedelic rock experience that is not like anything I've heard. It's still got all the indie and alt country influence of 3D Country, and even at points the dance punk influence from their debut, as well as influences from the folk and soul stuff that Cameron was doing solo. It just all comes together into this amazing album that at points just like I don't even understand it, but it's one of those albums where you don't quite understand what makes it so good, but you listen to it and you sing along anyway, and you're like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. Literally from front to finish, this album is amazing. Whether it be the explosive opener Trinidad, whether it be the sugar sweet Cobra, whether it be longer, more sort of like meandering tracks, in a good way, good form of meandering, like Husbands or Islands of Men, whether it be the amazing lead single Taxes, whether it be the fantastic closer, Long Island City, Here I Come, which I think is the best closer this year, without a doubt, for me, whether it be my personal favourite tracks, like Half Real and Opes de Cocaine, whether you're getting just straight up jam band bangers on why is its name just going out of my head? Bow Down, or the title track. Whether you're getting almost like funk rock on 100 Horses. I could just go on and on and on about this album forever. And it's an album that I want to get lost in forever. But if I got lost in that album forever, I wouldn't be able to listen to my album of the year. Because as much love as I have for Getting Killed, it pains me to put it below, but I will be putting it below my number 1 album. I don't know why I'm drum rolling. You all know what it is. I know what it is. We're going to be going with Evangelic Girl is a Gun by Yule. Is my favourite album of 2025. I think this album is a perfect 10. from front to back. You've got 10 tracks, about 30 minutes of material, and it never lets up in quality from beginning to end. Tequila Coma is the perfect, dreamy yet groovy opener. The Girl Who Sold Her Face takes you into this grungy territory. Echo is this soaring indie banger that sounds like it could have came out 10 years ago and still had the same impact it does now. 1967 is just one of my favorite tracks of the year melodically. You Don't Want to Be My Neighbors, with how much I've gone around going, "They told me meet on Sunday and take the Northern Line." It gets stuck in my head and I walk around singing that. VV is a beautiful love song and ballad track on here, taking you into the second half. Doot Doo it obviously made my best singles of the year list video this past year. That track just takes baggy and other 90s rock genres and kind of just and like Pen Pen Apple Apple pens it into like the best song ever, kind of. Whatever for a track as dejected and almost nonchalant as this track is, it doesn't bore me. It's just a perfect atmosphere track. My personal favorite song on the album, and at number 8, is Psycho. This track is just heartbreaking and a track that I unfortunately relate to quite a bit, particularly with some stuff that happened this year. The title track, which is just this balls to the wall electronic banger, and then finally Skull Crusher, which is this crushing, sludgy noise rock explosion at the end of everything that almost calls back to Soft Scars, but somehow sounds even louder than a lot of the tracks that are on there. This album is just, it's so amazing to me. I've loved Jules' music for a long time, even going back to like Serotonin 2, Soft Scars, both fantastic albums. I somehow still haven't heard Glitch Princess though. I think it's the 4-hour track scaring me off. But you could listen, instead of listening to that track for 4 hours, you could listen to this album 8 times, and that's kind of what I do. I haven't been able to put this album down. Literally, I look at the cover art all the time because I bought this album. This album just reminds me of why I love music. You know, last year that was Imaginal Disc. That album kind of did that for me. Whereas this year it was this album where I just was like, my joy and love for music. Like, I find it impossible to be burnt out when there's stuff like this coming out. And it's just so exciting. But you know what's even more exciting? Hearing down below about what albums you like from this year. There's obviously albums I didn't mention in this video because, you know, it's hard to condense like 45 amazing albums into a top 20. But I think I did an alright job, and if you think I did an alright job as well, please do consider leaving a like on this video. It really shows me what you guys are interested in, and it boosts my ego a little bit. Please do consider subscribing to the channel if you're interested in more lists, more music discussion, more album reactions, and whatever nonsense else is going to go up on the channel this year. But yeah, I'm just gonna thank you so much for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Haven't thought of a name yet. Signing out.